Greetings, card fighters, and welcome to Premium 101, an introduction to Cardfight Vanguard's premium format. I'm Devlin Cassidy, aka The Scholar, and I'm here to help you start your premium format journey in the game of Cardfight Vanguard. I hope that this starter's guide for today's clan is very beneficial in having you figure out what deck you want to pick up when you decide to play premium. I hope that you find this video very informational and helpful, and hopefully have you start on your premium journey. So now we move on into Narukami, and this deck, while I have a personal vendetta against it, I can't scoff at what it's able to do inside premium right now. So as you can see, you kind of have like conflicting engines with Vanquisher and Steve. However, these cards work really well together because you essentially have a very good right-up turn with using Vanquisher and their history collection Stride, which is right here. It will give you 2 Excel markers, and that puts you really high because you're drawing those cards because you're always going Excel 2. And you're also making your opponent, like messing with your opponent's board a little bit and starting to set up that bind zone for some of your really more powerful G guards. And then Sweep just starts keeping and continuously retiring your opponent's front row every turn. And it can also make 2 Excel markers if your opponent set you to 4 damage. You can counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, get Imaginary Gift Excel, and then revive a card with Eradicator in its card name, which you're either going to be reviving Cho-Oh for more multi-attack pressure or Zuiten for more soul and draw advantage. Which overall just makes this like very, very strong. This engine is super consistent because you have access to Nusku, which will grab you any Eradicator. So Nusku can grab you Spark Rays, Cho-Oh, Zuiten, or Sweep, or the best grade 1 arguably in this deck, which is Demolition Dragon, which is at the end of the battle it attacked or boosted. If that attack hit, you get to draw a card. Does not say on Vanguard, can hit rear or can hit Vanguard. And then you can choose up to one of your opponent's cards from drop and bind it. If you bound a card, you have to shove this card from your rear guard to your soul. You can just leave it to say, hey, I draw a card. This card is very, very strong. You also get access to Esperidia, which is a CB-less multi-attacker in this deck, which is very strong. But why do we need these CB-less attackers, and why do we care about our opponent's front row being missing? If you've heard murmurings of Premium, you would say that this is the strongest Stride in Narukami, and that could be far less than true. Because honestly, it's this. This plus Sweep Command is very, very strong. This is Exterminate Dragon. So when it's placed on the Vanguard circle, you can just Soul Blast 1 and draw a card for each one of your opponent's open front or rear guard circles. This includes Excel circles. So this is why you have to be careful in this matchup about spamming Excel markers, because your opponent's front rows can just get really, really fat for no reason whatsoever. So like if you Gurgit and you spam out the 5 and you had like Aglavales that bounce back to your hand and like return, you open up those rear guard circles, your opponent could well just pay a counterblast and get 50k and draw 5 cards off this one card. Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1. Get a bunch of power, draw a bunch of cards. It's really good. It's really good and keeps a lot of Excel decks in check. This is why Exterminate's very powerful. This is why I think this card needs to be on the watch list as well. I would honestly let them have Stun versus back. They ban VSR and they hit Exterminate. I think that this deck is fine. Because the consistency is the only really frustrating thing about this deck. They also play a stand trigger because the DP is a really good deck against this. That you can actually countercharge, so you're not like actually damage starved the entire time. But going on to what makes this deck even more insane is the ability for its G guards. So they have a really good one in Counteract, which lets them just essentially have like a 35k shield if their opponent doesn't bind anything for no cost. Their very strong G guard is Impede, which if you like double or triple impede somebody, you can blow up their board, because essentially Impede always checks for if you have rear guard, your opponent chooses one, retires and binds it, and then if they have 2 or more rear guards than you, they have to retire another one. They continually check this per activation, so there's just sometimes where an opponent can just double impede you, and if you're not on like an Excel deck, you can just straight up lose, because it'll just blow up your board, turn around, blow up your board with Sweep, and then they just get too far ahead in advantage with back-to-back turns, and it's very valuable. Oh, the best G-Guard, though, in my opinion, for Narukami is that his Bulwark. It's Thunderstrike 3, so if your opponent has 3 or more cards in their bind zone, he gets plus a free 10k shield. And then when he's placed on Guardian Circle, for every 4 cards in your opponent's bind zone, you get to choose one of their rested rear guards in your opponent's front row and retire it. So again, it can get rid of those pesky restanding rear guards that don't have resist and other ways to prevent them from being retired, and it's just overall very, very strong. They also have a very interesting finisher inside the GB8, which is when it's placed on Vanguard, you retire all rear guards of all fighters, bind all cards in your opponent's drop zone face up, and until the end of turn, this unit gets all of your units get plus 2k in each and all fighters bind zones. So free power, free everything. It's just so good. It's just so value. Then you can just like call a board. That board is really big if the game's gone on for a super long time, and so it's just really, really good value. I would be able to talk about like some other decks in Narukami, but since they banned Full Bronto, I don't see Vanquisher as viable, and I don't think Dungaree is as good as it could be. But there are plenty of lists on YouTube if you would like to go check those out. I just really want to give those content creators that are looking into those decks and digging into those decks the ability to get some viewership for those. But those are definitely different archetypes that you can play. But this right now is like the premier version of Narukami and what you should be playing if you want to go to like high level events and stuff. Like if you really want to learn this deck and what this clan is capable of. The Dragonic Vanquisher sweep deck is very, very strong, and I'd highly consider taking it to a BCS if it's not hit. Like this deck is crazy. But that's going to do it for our one Narukami list. Please, though, if you're interested, go and do your research. You can find so many more lists for this clan, but this deck log will be in the description below. Let's roll to Nubatama. There you have it. Hopefully some of the deck ideas found here in this clan were very, very beneficial for you all, and so that way you guys can start your premium journey. If not, feel free to check out the other starters guides on this channel if you kind of have a rough idea of what clans you're looking into, or there's the entire video of where all of this was broken up from that you guys can feel free to put on the background and listen to as you guys can watch me ramble about decks. But I hope that this was very beneficial and that you guys continue along with me. Hopefully see you in the next lesson, and until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all later.